Reagan said this of he and John Paul II, this is Reagan's own words. "We both felt that a great mistake had been made at Yalta and that something must be done." Yalta is where Poland and the other Eastern European countries basically fell behind the Iron Curtain, right? 1945. Solidarity in Poland was the very weapon for bringing this about. Reagan told the Pope in this June 1982 meeting, "Hope remains in Poland, and we, working together, can keep it alive." Can keep it alive. Now, maybe in the Q&A I could go through exactly what they did, how they worked together. Among other things, a lot of intelligence sharing went on that we still don't know about. It's amazing how many of these documents are still classified, especially on the Vatican side, where they were classified for like 75 years. They had their staffs meeting together constantly. There was one team, Bill Casey, the CIA director, who, as I said, was Catholic, Ambassador Vernon Walters, they would fly, Casey would fly in a black jet without windows, a C-141. He would fly it to the Vatican. And we know that Casey and Walters met with John Paul II at least 15 times in the 6 years between 1981 and 87, when Casey was DCI, Director of Central Intelligence. Back in Washington, the key players were Bill Clark, Casey, and P.O. Laghi, the apostolic delegate to the United States. They would meet constantly. Clark says, "Casey and I dropped into Laghi's residence early mornings during critical times to gather his comments and counsel. I'd speak to him frequently on the phone. He would be in touch with the Pope. On at least 6 different occasions, Laghi came to the White House, met personally with me and Reagan. Casey and Clark had this code language because they were always fearful that the phones were bugged. If something hot was happening in Poland where they thought they might need to talk to the Pope or talk to Laghi, Clark would pick up the phone and he would say to Casey, "I think we need to get some cappuccino." And that meant they needed to meet with Cardinal Laghi. They would go over to his residence and they would meet. So they worked together. The Berlin Wall falls in 1989. The rest is history, collapse of communism. Berlin Wall fell in November 1989. But what everybody forgets is before the Berlin Wall fall, and the breach in the Berlin Wall is what really led to the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, or so everybody thinks that. Poland in June 1989 held free and fair elections. That was the single most important thing in the collapse of communism. Gorbachev said when Poland held elections in June of 1989, free and fair elections, Solidarity candidates won 99 out of 100 open seats. All right, and the one seat that they didn't win was won by a millionaire capitalist businessman from the West. I mean, the communists didn't win anything. Gorbachev said when that happened, when that election happened in Poland, I knew it was all over. I knew that was the end of it. What we didn't see, Reagan at that point in time was back in California. He left the presidency in January 1989. And he was called on, I was told this a few years ago, by a man named Chris Zawitkowski, who ran the Polish-American Foundation for Economic Research and Education. Zawitkowski and another Polish-American and 2 Solidarity members paid a visit to Reagan at his office in California. This would have been the spring of 1989. And they're getting ready for elections in June of '89 in Poland. So they called on Reagan, who Poles consider a hero, a national hero. And they wanted to get some campaigning advice on him. And they asked him, they said, "You're the old master campaigner, you won." By the way, imagine this. Reagan in 1980, you can imagine if Mitt Romney pulled this off. Reagan won 44 out of 50 states in 1980 against an incumbent president. And Jimmy Carter was ahead of Reagan by about 10 points at this point. And it was narrow, it was neck and neck. And Reagan in 1984 won 49 out of 50 states. So these polls go to Reagan and they want some advice on campaigning, right? What exactly should we do going into the campaign? And they were taken aback when Reagan said this: "Here's my advice. Listen to your conscience, because that's where the Holy Spirit speaks to you." I thought, oh, okay. Didn't expect that. And then Reagan pointed over to a picture on the wall of John Paul II, and he said, "He is my best friend." And he said, "Yes, you know, I'm Protestant," and he's Catholic, of course. He said, but he's my best friend. So these 2 best friends worked together in taking down communism.
Hi, my name is Alan Lamont. I'm doing an audio now on the Knights of Malta, and I'm really going to just give names here, you know. I'm going to go through a membership list and give you the details so you can look at that list yourself. And the Knights of Malta really do govern world politics. They govern the United Nations. Many of the high-level members of the Third Reich were actually Knights of Malta. And I'm bringing this list out for people that, you know, say the Jews control the New World Order and so on, or it's from the Bilderberg Group and so on. So this is truth that you can research. This is facts that you can't deny, you know. All the dictators that we see across the earth are Knights of Rome. The Vatican governs the politics of the world, and that includes all intelligence organisations through this papal knighthood, Catholic papal knighthood called the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, or otherwise known as the Knights of Malta. And this is information that people need to research, really. And the Pope is the one that is in control over this, but it also has a Grand Master. The present Grand Master is Matthew Festin, and he is from Northumbria in the north of Britain. And so really, politics really is governed by this knighthood, and their agenda really is to end the sovereignty of the United States and all nations, really, to bring a one world government and a new international economic order, or otherwise known as a one world economy. And they want to really disarm people, really, to take away the gun control. And is the Knights of Malta. They are known as the militia of the Pope, and so really when someone becomes a Knight of Malta, they have to take an oath, and then that oath is it's an oath of absolute obedience to the Pope of Rome. That's what it is. And so I'm going to list some of these names, and these are the people who, you'll know their names, you know, the high level people in the CFR, in American politics and so on. You have Brzezinski. He is the member of the Knights of Malta. He's a member of the Bilderberg Group. He's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission. As I've said previously, this is really a round table group governed from the British Empire, overseen by the Jesuit order. Also, you know, he came from Jesuit Georgetown University. He's a Polish Roman Catholic socialist communist. He's really controlled by the Jesuits. You have George Soros. He is the member of the Council on Foreign Relations and member of the Carlyle Group. He's a multi-billionaire, major stockholder, and he was also trained at the London School of Economics for a season, which is also a Jesuit university, and he's a major stockholder in Halliburton, a Hungarian Jew. And you know, so a lot of people really are looking to the Jewish Zionist movement is saying that the Jews really control the New World Order. They rule. Actually, you'll find out that all of these high-level Jews, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, are all Knights of Malta. So it's very important to know who this knighthood is and who their members are, because world politics is governed by this papal knighthood. And also you have Rupert Murdoch. He's a Knight of Malta. He's also a Knight of St. Gregory. You have Joseph R. Biden, the Vice President of the United States currently. He's a Papal Knight of Rome. He's a Knight of Malta, a Jesuit Temple Coadjutor, which means he's working for the Jesuit order. And he oversees, you know, another Knight of Malta, President Barry Davis Obama. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair is a Knight of Malta, as Michael Bloomberg, you know. Even Charles Joseph Bonaparte, I mean really Pat Buchanan, George H.W. Bush Sr., George W. Bush Jr., Jeb Bush. Even though Jeb Bush is a Knight of Columbus, 4th degree Son Knight, he's also Knight of Malta. Prescott Bush Jr., King John Carlos of Spain, is a very, very high level Knight of Rome governing world politics. President Bill Clinton is a Knight of Malta. Most senators are, and most members of Congress. I mean, the list goes on and on. Heinrich Himmler, my God, you know, Heinrich Himmler was a Knight of Malta. That's the truth of it. Von Papen, now these were high-level Nazis, you know. Göring of the Nazi SS, that's the truth. And you don't really hear Alex Jones bring this out, or many others that mention the Bilderberg Group. The Jews don't rule, okay? They don't control the New World Order. You will find, through research, that the Knights of Malta govern world politics, and they oversee the political process across the earth. And there are multi-levels, you know, of knighthoods all across the earth, and they govern different territories across the earth in this power structure. And there's different power centres. You know, for instance, the British Empire rules over America through the Crown Corporation and so on. But all I want to bring out really is the Sovereign Military Order of Malta is a very powerful knighthood that governs world politics and world intelligence. In fact, you know, all intelligence across the earth, and that goes for British MI5, MI6, you know, CIA, Homeland Security, NSA. All of it really is governed by the Knights of Malta, and you know, that's the truth. When people reach the highest levels of politics and intelligence, and even in military, they're knighted in the Knights of Malta, because they are given that position by the Vatican. And you know, for generations the Knights of Malta have governed even Russia. I mean, that's the truth. You know, they really govern Russia, and they govern Israel and all nations across the earth. But ultimately they are subordinate to the Jesuit general, and they also are servants of the British Empire. The British Empire is still an empire, and that's the truth of it, you know. So, you know, that's it. I just want to bring that information out. If you're really sincerely looking at the New World Order, trying to understand who the powers are, because you will admit to yourself that if you go on Alex Jones show or Texie Mars or all of these men, now they blame Jews, or they call them globalist elites, or you know, it's all unknown powers. It's powers that you will never know. And you know, people just, you know, bring out a general accusation like they're Zionists, or they're Jews, or they point to the Bilderberg Group, or they point to the Masons. You know, they don't actually expose really who controls. And actually all roads lead to Rome. You can very easily find out you know, who controls the New World Order. All you have to do is look at the Vatican knighthoods, and you will find out that all of our politicians and all of our world leaders are all Knights of Malta, or they are all alumni Jesuit trained. That's the structure, folks. That's it. It's that simple. Okay, thanks for listening. My name is Alan Lamont, and all roads lead to Rome, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.